This week's episode of the Totally Rad Show is brought to you by 2 months, 2 million.
Squarespace.
And GoDaddy.
Hey everybody, so this is normally where you would see on other weeks our cold open with the mission video, but unfortunately John Hughes passed away this week. And John Hughes is a big deal in our lives and in the creation of this show. I mean, all of our lives we watch John Hughes films. So we thought it would be a good opportunity for us to show you 3 of the intros that we did in the previous years.
That were directly inspired by John Hughes movies.
Based on John Hughes movies.
Yeah, so. I wanted to say, I was thinking back when I heard the news.
Out, yeah,
and I was like, just now. No, and it's crazy how prolific he was in this one genre, and I mean, there's nothing like him now.
And then didn't he stop?
He made all these teen movies that aren't like the teen movies that come out now are completely of their time. And there's definitely a lot of 80s-ness to his movies, but you can be a teenager now and still watch those movies and it's just as meaningful because it was so all-encompassing about the teenager experience. And there's no teen movie like that now, or it's very rare. And not only that, but and then nothing. And I've always been like waiting for that like return, you know, he's gonna come back and do and now we're robbed of that, which is a bummer.
So what we're going to show you now are three of our John Hughes inspired intros to the show from years ago. Enjoy. So disappointed in Dan.
$20 says he's sitting in his car debating about whether he should go out.
He'll keep calling me. He'll keep calling me until I come. He'll make me feel guilty. This is ridiculous. Okay, I'll go. Shit. God damn it! You got it? That's it.
Thanks for coming over.
Thanks for coming to get us.
Happy birthday, guys. Make a wish. It already came true.
That's a Christmas present for you, dear.
Why are you holding my hand?
Look, Daddy, Pete just says every time a
Where's your other hand?
an angel gets his wings.
Between 2 pillows.
That's right.
Those are pillows!
Living normal lives are recruited by a team of super spies. Their missions classified, but you may surmise they battle evil by quoting movie lines. Game and TV guides are used like knives to quell the rise of demon samurais. We know it sounds contrived, but we tell no lies. It's as the name implies, the Totally Rad Show.
Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad, Totally Rad Show, Totally Rad Show.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Totally Rad Show, episode number 125. I'm Alex Albrecht.
I'm Jeff Canada.
I'm Dan Trachtenberg.
Totally Rad Show is your weekly dose of all things rad. Yes, that's right. I am wearing a shirt you have never seen.
What? Oh, that looks familiar.
It does, because you have one.
No.
Oh, it does look familiar
It's
to
our logo.
you out there.
If you've been around a long time.
Welcome to the limited edition 70s styled movie poster t-shirt. We are starting to sell these probably right now on Jinx, but this is the first time we're doing this. Limited time only.
When they're gone, they're gone.
When they're gone, they're gone. We're not going to print anymore. I mean, maybe if some sort of weird special occasion happens, but other than that, we set it and forget it. We're like Ron Popeil with these shirts. So go to jinx.com/TRS if you want to catch on to
I
one of
want
these
one. I don't
guys.
even have one yet.
You don't even. You better buy one.
I
because-
know.
Seriously, we literally
Before
are
this
going to be
episode comes out,
out.
I'm buying one.
I know.
Also, another thing they haven't seen yet.
This amazing background. I don't know if you guys. We should sell these figures, by the way.
If we can print them up somehow, that'd be amazing. I want one.
I would love to. Thanks for Paul Konopacki.
Konopacki?
We think it's Konopacki, but we're not sure.
This
Or
was sent to us
Konopacki.
quite a while ago, but we've been hanging on to it for the G.I. Joe movie. And he evidently was digging through his attic, found some actual G.I. Joes.
And these are old school G.I. Joes. These aren't like.
Oh, yeah, these are
They're the, like, the
80s.
weird. When I saw them, I was like, those aren't G.I. Joes.
Right, yeah.
Because they're so big.
Yeah.
I want to correct something. I made an error
Oh, it's not Konopacki?
last week.
You know what? Let me correct you there.
We'll be correcting that next week.
Last week I said, what was the movie? Funny People was first movie Janusz Kaminski shot after Schindler's List. And,
Diving Bell and the Butterfly.
and we reviewed, I said the same thing a year
I
prior to that.
almost said something during the review. I'm like, I think you've said that before, but I didn't know what movie it was.
I did. And not only that, but he did Schindler's List and he did Little Giants and Jerry Maguire, and then it was all Spielberg all the time. Other
You
than
know,
he directed a movie
we
too,
here at the Totally Rad Show like to get all of our facts correct. I don't know if you watched any of our past episodes, but all factually solid.
Most of what comes out is off the top of my head. I think I do fairly
Off the top of
well.
your head, off the top of all of our heads.
No, I just mean the movie
We've said a
facts.
lot of different things on this show that
Well, we
aren't true.
try to do our best to correct, but yes.
Yes.
Yes,
So-
correct. Speaking of correcting, let's make some mistakes in this movie section.
Yeah.
This week in movies, we are talking about G.I. Joe, The Rise of the Cobra.
Real American
Tell
hero.
young Dan that he would ever say those words.
Yeah, right?
I believe it's the first Hasbro film, so we're gonna get a long line. There's a long line
This
of,
is like
of the Hasbro
going
movies.
back to the first DC movie.
Exactly.
There's gonna be
and that was a
whole
big
string-
deal in
I
Marvel,
remember, yeah.
Spider-Man. So
Yeah.
now we have the Battleship and Monopoly and all those Candyland, all those movies that we're supposed to.
When you say it like that, it
you
does
know,
sound exciting.
About to happen.
Bro,
never
you
know.
joke. Candyland fucked up.
Tim Burton's
Tim Burton's Candyland. We actually saw it. It was called Charlie and the Chocolate
Yeah.
Factory.
Okay.
Don't eat the candy.
Anyway.
That was Shoots and Ladders.
So we're going to talk about G.I. Joe. It's directed by Stephen Sommers, who did two of my favorite films, Camp and All, Deep Rising, and The Mummy.
Deep Rising.
This is actually his first
Which one was Deep
movie.
Rising?
Deep Rising was Treat Williams and Famke Jensen. It's Die Hard on a cruise ship and a Leviathan.
And a Leviathan?
That's why it's awesome.
God, it's so deep and rising. I thought it was like baking.
G.I. Joe is Stephen Sommers' first movie that he shot after shooting Schindler's List.
Hey,
call back.
All right. It has a huge cast.
Steven Sommers' Schindler's List would be hilarious.
It has a huge cast that it would be boring to list, but it's
But we're gonna
top
do that
line.
anyway.
No, it's top line by Channing Tatum and
Dennis Quaid.
one of the Wayans brothers.
Oh, that's what's top lined by? You're going to leave out...
Well, those are the characters that
Quaid.
it follows, along with Sienna Miller as the Baroness. Those,
Christopher Eccleston.
right, so we could list them all.
Doctor Who.
Right.
That's
okay.
Doctor Who.
Okay.
Doctor Who plays Destro. Come on.
So, okay, Doctor Who played Destro.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
That's it. That's all that was.
What did you think
so
of the movie?
here's the thing. This movie is from. Okay. I think this movie is better than I had expected. I had actual fun, which is surprising. The trailers, I'm surprised to say, did not do justice to what the movie is about. My big fear going into this movie was that every G.I. Joe was just a guy in a suit. There's nothing special about them. There was no delineating between the different skills. It was just everybody had a suit. That's why they were all so
Your
cool.
fear of the trailer? you're
From
saying?
the trailer, because
Okay.
it was like the whole half the trailer is these are these suits, go play with them, and then them running through the thing. So the good news is that's not actually the case.
So
That
Alex
each-
trailer theory intact.
Still, I mean, there was no love for this movie. There was a lot of I actually had a really good time. Front to back, a lot of action, which is good. I thought there was some decent comedy. I mean, as far as action movie comedy goes, but I was sort of surprised. I was sort of pleasantly surprised. CG is a little intense at times when it's CG men the motorcycle chase was the most sort of
mean
egregious
accelerated
use. No. The chick
Yeah.
on the motorcycle was the most egregious
part
use
of
of
that
it.
chase.
It was like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
could have easily done that practical and it would have looked cooler. But I
I don't know about easily done, but done.
done. And to be fair, I had fun. I was surprised. G.I. Joe,
Jeffrey?
I rose.
Are you gonna be the tater to his tot?
Of course. It's a
Don't know what that means. If it means
Oh, I didn't say it. Who said it?
If it means
I
what?
rather liked this movie.
Interesting.
I know.
What?
I know.
What?
Let's be
Hey,
honest.
we are all the real
Let's
Americans.
be honest. Let's be honest. It's not a movie for adults. It's
No,
not.
No.
Right.
But
Heather's nephew Jake is going to. He's like 13. Will love.
if you'd shown this to me when I was 10, in the heat of my G.I. Joe obsession, it would have been the greatest. Exactly what I would have wanted. And you know what's great about it is that it's a cartoon movie. It lives inside the universe of that cartoon series, those toys, and it doesn't have any misconceptions about making it something that it's not, which is I think the trap that Transformers fell into, which it completely warped that whole universe and went in this bizarre direction that for me didn't work. But G.I. Joe lives inside its own skin as being way over the top toy movie. And for that, I think it's completely successful. It is fun. And listen, I could have done without all of the flashbacks.
Yeah.
I could have done without the love story kind of forced
Sort of.
stuff
Yeah,
happening, There's a lot of stuff that I could have gone without. The least interesting characters in the movie, I think, are Duke and
Agreed,
Ripcord.
agreed.
I liked all the other characters much more. I had more fun when they were on the screen. It's not a great movie, but it's better than Transformers.
Interesting. Dan, what did you think?
Definitely don't agree with that statement. 12-year-old Dan has already seen this movie 12 times back in 1992.
What were they called? What movie?
Yeah.
No. I'm saying.
Oh, you're saying because you would have
Yeah.
gone back to the theater over and over.
Yes, exactly. I'm saying
Oh!
the younger version
Didn't
of me
sound like you were
has
saying that.
already
I
seen.
was like,
Remember-
what 12
remember
movies?
last-
12 specific movies have been made that have this exact. Do you really, Dan?
What? It was attached to me.
No, it's not.
It
Put
was
it in your pocket fully.
It was attached.
Technical difficulties. Your
I'm
pants
gonna
are
vamp.
so
Okay.
What? What are my pants?
amazing.
Oh God! Don't pay any attention to what's going on.
Okay.
there.
So 12 specific movies.
Yeah. Fun, sure, in parts. The accelerator suit sequence was phenomenal.
I was surprised how good that
ate
was.
that. I mean,
It's toys.
I
It's
was
what you do
so
with your
giddy.
toys.
Yeah.
More than that, I mean, it's basically what I dreamed when I was playing with when we
Yeah.
were playing with our toys. It is what I was seeing in my head.
The way the cars.
Yeah, it's all just
what
fun.
you do with your your toys.
Exactly. It's definitely a kids movie for sure. And I don't think that you could. I sit there and I'm like, well, it was nice that Transformers is for kids, but adults can enjoy it too. And I enjoyed it through the eyes of a child. I didn't enjoy it as an adult. But I don't think you could make G.I. Joe for adults too. I think the premise of G.I.
it
Joe
would have to
you
be
can-
adult, like Born, or for kids.
Yeah,
There isn't a real
I
ground.
agree.
It would have been a
You'd-
major
we'd
misstep
have
if they had
to-
tried that, I think.
Right, I agree. Like you can't have it, then you can't have any of the names.
Right.
You
Yeah.
can't because it just would be awkward. So, as a kids action movie, it is one of the greatest.
Even the names were a little awkward. Whenever you could tell they were
but
like
then you have to say, okay,
throwing
for
in the
kids.
thing. Right, exactly.
And then it's
You know what,
fine.
But you know, it made me excited about the thing that I have been talking about since I moved to Los Angeles. Before any of this stuff happened with Transformers and all that stuff, I want to do a live-action Mask movie.
This kind of was that.
Amazing.
Honestly, this was the thing. I was like, it could happen. Somebody could actually say yes to
It
that.
should be said,
So
too,
exciting.
that Joseph Gordon-Levitt gave as a transformative a performance as Heath Ledger, just wasn't given as good a story or words. But
Yeah.
as transformative.
I was not as happy with the end product of
Yeah.
Blue Hood.
anything.
Oh, wait, that's a
anything.
major
That's a spoiler.
Yeah, you should
No,
spoil
it's
it.
not that spoiler.
It is, it's a spoiler.
I mean, it's not.
All right.
I was just gonna say, if it had ended after Paris, I would have been happy. That last underwater
Probably after the
sequence-
credit. Oh,
Oh,
by the way,
I love the underwater battle.
underwater
It was like
space
underwater Battlestar Galactica.
It was a space battle underwater.
And why are we not
But-
living underwater? And I'm just saying, every time there's like some, even Deep Blue Sea, like every time there's like, or
Because you
that
know
was
why?
one,
Because
right?
Bioshock.
Yeah.
No, exactly.
that'll happen.
And
It's
Jaws
gonna
3D
happen.
with Dennis Quaid.
Exactly. I want to
No,
live
not
under
good.
the water.
It always ends in catastrophe. We all drown.
Well, shit. So are space battles. I mean, why are we not in space? Although, how great was it?
'Cause we all
at the
die of
end?
oxygen
But how great was it at the
losing.
end? There was that epic toy that you could buy, the giant flagship G.I.
Yeah,
Joe
dude.
carrier.
Yeah.
99.
All right.
In.
Yo,
Anyway,
Joe.
what were we talking
In
about?
other news, this week we saw
Bring it down for
the
a second, yeah.
trailer for
Children's getting
the
married.
next Peter Jackson movie called The Lovely Bones. It's based on a novel written by someone I should have looked at the name of.
Alice Marshmallow.
And it stars Saoirse Ronan, who we all loved in Atonement,
Sure.
as a young girl who is killed in the beginning of the book, right, or the beginning of the story, and is in a heaven like.
She's in between.
In limbo.
She has.
And basically has to decide: do I go to heaven peacefully, or do I find out my killer and exact vengeance? So it's sort of like a mystery film of someone who's already been killed, trying to find out
Postmortem
who's.
mystery.
Yes. I think many would think that a weird, an interesting follow-up to giant epics previously made by Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings and King Kong, but they might want to look back at his filmography and see that the movie that he was nominated
he
for an
loves
Academy,
gore.
the nominated,
And Women in
the
Peril.
movie that he made that was nominated for Academy Award, Heavenly Creatures, which is phenomenal, is exactly this kind of movie, a murder mystery with some fantastical elements. So,
And he specifically said he wanted to take a step back and do something small on a smaller scale.
Well,
Right.
I'm sorry.
But that's,
look,
where
you
he-
do Lord of the Rings, you gotta be burnt out after doing Lord of the
then
Rings.
and then King Kong.
And then King Kong.
Which was as long as 3 movies, which was one movie as
Actually
long
was.
as 3.
I think it was called King Kong: Return of the King.
Calm.
And what did you think of the Lovely Bones trailer?
Cool. I mean, surprised. I didn't know what The Lovely Bones is about. I just knew Heather read it and loved it, and I was like, so it must be about girly things.
Oddly, Heather reading it wasn't even in the trailer.
No, it was all parts. Just kidding. That would be epic if all of a sudden it's like, this woman, Heather Stewart, read this book. I'm Peter Jackson.
And what did you think of the Lovely Bones trailer?
Pretty much the same as Alex about Heather. No, I don't want to talk about trailers as a whole, except to say this. It tends to be the case nowadays that about halfway through a trailer, I go, stop. Okay, I'm done. Just don't show me anymore. And then another half of the trailer goes, and it's like, I've seen too much. This looks really interesting and visually stimulating. You know, I love the idea of Peter Jackson taking on a story that takes a little more subtlety and is working on a sort of more subdued level, but still with that visual inventiveness.
Right.
So
Very
I think
few
this looks
orcs.
really great.
Which is exactly like Heavenly Creatures. The trailer is just the first act. I actually asked someone.
Oh,
I didn't
really?
want anything spoiled, so I asked. I said, "Hey, is it cool
It's
to
a
watch
really
someone who read
long
the
trailer.
book?" And she said, "Just the first act," because everyone was like, "Oh, the end of this trailer looks like a spoiler." She's like, "No, that's not even."
I hope that's the case. If
beginning.
that's the case, I'll be very
Yeah.
pleased. But
Yeah.
still,
It is the case.
it's a long trailer, and I feel like
but if
trailers
it
can be
is-
shorter. Trailers can be shorter.
Oh, dude, of course. I liked it.
Oh, you're excited, right?
Yeah, I'm thrilled for everything that was said here, other than the Heather comment, which is cool.
not thrilled
But
about that?
I mean,
She could be in
I don't trust
the
it.
trailer.
I don't trust it.
Okay.
I don't believe that's true.
We'll see what happens. My trailer is awesome.
So we love massively multiplayer online games.
Yes, we do.
And we love superheroes.
Yes, we do.
So of course, when the beta codes were being released for Champions Online, we snatched up a few.
Shwip, shwip.
And we've been playing a little of the beta. So it's not the entire game yet, but we're going to give you some first impressions of what we've been checking out of the intro levels of Champions Online, which is Cryptic Studios, the guys who gave us City of Heroes, which was a very successful.
Odd that they're doing just a whole nother samesies.
Well, you know,
right?
they were also going to be doing Marvel Online for a while, which got canceled, but so they were kind of special, and they're doing Star Trek.
Right,
Massively
yeah.
So they're kind of specializing, I think.
Yeah, interesting, their purchase plan. Did you read about the purchase plan where you
Yeah,
buy a lifetime
for
membership?
$200. Yeah,
That's interesting.
My
brilliant.
brother
I know.
and old roommate Tom almost bought Ultimate TV lifetime membership for $200. It was Ultimate TV was Microsoft and TiVo was the other. We did Ultimate TV. They did not buy it, but they were eventually bought out. We could have had free TiVo for the rest of our lives.
See?
Are you
That's
kidding me?
That's the bet you're
System
making.
works, yeah.
And if enough people do it, it funds.
But when you buy I was going to say, when you buy the lifetime membership, you get access to the closed beta for Star Trek Online.
Interesting.
That in and of itself may be
Test
worth
the game
$200.
out before you, but
Well, let me
boy, oh boy,
we'll
that's
talk a little
awesome.
bit more about Champions Online, which is based on an old pen and paper role-playing system called Champions, which I dabbled in a little bit when I was a kid because I was so in love with superheroes. But basically, it is much like City of Heroes, it is an entire city world of superpowered beings and bad stuff happening. So it's not based on any specific superhero world, but you can create your own characters. And I think just like City of Heroes before it, one of the biggest features of Champions Online is a very robust character creation system with a lot of different options for basing your powers. You can be the big brute, you can be sort of sorcery based, you can be elemental based, you can be more like Wolverine, like a mutant, you can be a tech like Iron Man. Tons of different options, and the visualization of your character, the design of how you look, which is so much a part of what superheroes are, is very deep and gives you tons of options of coloring and styles and stances and all kinds of cool stuff. You can do sliders on individual facial features.
Yeah.
So it's almost more like one of these sports games than it is what you traditionally get in MMOs, which is very few customization features. So we played, like I said, the first. There's a starting area that you enter where you go up to level 5 or 6-ish, and then once you leave that area, you get your travel power, which is very cool. You can do flight or acrobatics or all kinds of stuff. So Dan, what kind of character did you pick, and what was your experience like?
I did a chick. Just cause.
Amazing.
I know
That
it's
was her
like-
power, femaleness?
Yeah, no, a chick. Man, I'm trying to remember. My name was Butters, and I love that you can type in your own origin. I don't know how you can see
I totally
that.
went crazy with that.
Yeah, but I was like, I don't know
I think
how
other
this is gonna-
players can view it.
Right,
Yeah.
because I said I'm the because I'm always McButters
Yeah.
when I play. So I thought I'll be Butters, the daughter of McButters.
From WoW.
And yeah, but McButters is
Archery?
I forgot what McButters, but she was disowned by her father, and she was never as strong as her father, so
Oh,
she made
but
up for it by
McButters-
brain, so she was telekinetic.
Nice.
That was what it was. She was
McButters
telekinetic.
was a hunter.
Right.
Yeah.
But she was a female, so she always wanted to be like Dad, but she couldn't, so she had to make up with her smarts. Anyway.
Sexist.
So,
What did you think?
so she was that, and okay. Well, I thought, it's cool. The superhero universe is a great milieu for a MMO because mission getting and storytelling is so hard to grasp when you have to read text in MMOs and in the fantasy world, it's always, I feel like it's always so complex. Even in just fantasy storytelling in general, names of things are always very Barthos, and it's hard in the politics of the situation. And superhero-ness lends itself to being the robots are in disguise and they're killing people, save them. You know what I mean? Like, and I love the immediacy of that.
Interesting.
And I missed, from Age of Conan, we had that great combo system of for your attacks, where it wasn't just hit a button and it doesn't attack. You had to actually do something. I missed that, but this did do something a little more than the usual by adding a blocking mechanic that really changed up combat quite a bit. And there was charge powers where you have to hold and tap. So not quite what we got from Age of Conan, but still very cool. I must say, travel powers. Holy crap, dudes. Holy crap. I watched it, I was very nervous to make my selection, even though that was like the end of the beta. I might as well have not. But so I watched a YouTube video that displayed all of the powers.
Cheater.
Yeah. So I landed on what do you think I chose?
I'm gonna say the ice. No.
Acrobatics?
Swinging.
Oh,
Swinging.
Yeah.
Ice
Which
effect.
is a great swinging mechanic. It actually is like you're in Spider-Man 2, the game. You know?
Cool.
So you
crap.
like it? You'll play more.
I will definitely
You thinking
play
about the
more.
$200 lifetime?
Yeah, nah, I don't know
Maybe not
about
that much.
but-
What do you think, Alex?
It's
Mr. Wow.
Interesting, yeah, because I come from a land down under.
What do you think of my Vegemite sandwich?
I don't want your Vegemite sandwich. I realized that first off, MMOs are hard to get into, and it's almost unfair to give an MMO. And I did play this. I think I played 3, not full days, but I played 3 different times, and I got up to like a level 9, I think, or 8 or 9 or something. I played through 2 of the different environments.
It's interesting that, like I said, you start in that starting thing, which everybody starts in, and then you kind of defeat a story-based mission, and then you have the option of going to 2 different areas, and if you go to one, you can't go to the other.
Yeah, I
Which is
didn't
interesting,
realize
right?
there
Oh,
were 2.
I didn't know there were another. Wasn't
You get a
there?
choice.
Yeah, the desert, and then you take the 2 helicopters.
Canada or the desert?
Yeah, which is so
okay.
very specific and general. Okay, so let me just get my concerns out of the way. First off, my game was very, very laggy. Very laggy. Surprisingly
Beta?
laggy. Beta, yes, but very close to launch, so I was very nervous. So I had to fight through the lagginess, which is never really a get you off on the right foot. And I was like, well, maybe it's my graphics. So I turned the graphics all the way down. It was still laggy, and I was like, okay, maybe it's not. Here's the problem with superhero games as an MMO. I think it's a lose-lose situation at the character creation stage. And here's why I say that. There are 2 ways you can go. You can make any kind of superhero that has ever existed. And then what you're presented with are these massive decisions that you can't unchange. You can't go, well, I was an archer guy and I got 8 levels into the archer guy, but I really sort of was bored with that, and then some guy came over and started going bang, 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 and I was like, yeah, that guy.
You can make a new guy.
You could make a new guy, but I'm gonna say, but
Or girl.
It could take 30, 40
Sexist.
tries. Whereas with most MMOs, you start out, it's like, here are the 6 or 7 classes that you can get, and you can kind of figure out what you want to do, and if it doesn't work, it's like, oh, okay. If you go the route of usual MMOs and say there are 6 different superpowers you can get, superhero fans are gonna go, F you guys, I wanna be able to totally customize my guy, I wanna be a guy who shoots ice for no reason, If you do what Champions has done, you're gonna get a lot of people who are like, it's too many options at the get-go. For me, it was just too many options. So I chose, I was all right with it. But I ended up playing this guy up because I was like, I don't want to go back. This is the beta. I don't want to go back, but I didn't really dig what was happening. So there was a negative for me. It does the same thing that Age of Conan did, that D&D Online did, that Star Wars Galaxies didn't do, and WoW didn't do. So it can't be a technical thing, because years ago they weren't doing it, which is instancing everything. And for me, that totally pulls me out of the game. If I'm going into a door and it goes, do you want to go into session 1, 3, 4, or 8? There are 32 people here, 12 people here, 16 here. And now I'm not playing the game.
It didn't do it.
It did it every time I walked into the
never
different
happened to me,
leveling
actually.
session. Well, it would. Once you get to the next level, every time you go into the leveling area where you get by your skills, it asks you which leveling area do you want to go to, which way back do you want to go into. So it just, every cave you went into. So to me, that stuff pulls me out, and maybe I just am not an MMO developer, and so I don't understand why that has to happen, because the 2 MMOs that I played beforehand, it didn't have to do that. And I know it's one of those things where once you group up, then it's fine. But I love, in WoW, you're sitting around and people walk by that are in your guild, and you're like, oh, hey, what's up? What are you doing? Literally because they walked by you and you saw their name, and you're like, oh, what are you doing?
From a
tonight?
gameplay standpoint, fun?
Fun enough.
Yeah.
Fun enough.
And
Yeah.
what kind of character did you play?
I was an archer.
Sort of Hawkeye or Green
Yeah,
Arrow type.
Deadpool maybe. No. I don't know.
That's cool.
There definitely was some enjoyment. I don't know if I was in love with the the story stuff. It was just sort of okay, yeah, go kill.
It's very
robots.
classic superhero-y,
Right.
biff pow whap.
Yeah,
right.
But it's also generic, so I didn't feel any connection to the material because it was just generic superhero number 2, go save generic citizen number 3. And
I kind of agree with that from the mission standpoint and a story standpoint. That first big story introduction area is a alien invasion, and it didn't feel particularly exciting. I liked it. I liked the character creation. I could spend hours and hours and hours doing it. I developed a kind of an Iron Man type guy named Hot Swap.
oh yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'll write an awesome origin story. I'll have to send it to you. It's awesome. I'm proud of it. Yeah, and I got jet boots as my travel power, which was awesome. I think this game has a lot of potential. I wasn't hooked.
Yeah.
I wasn't hooked. But, you know, just a beta. Maybe if we see more, it'll be interesting.
I thought that Fallout 3 did a great thing with.
Did a lot of great things.
With you don't have to make any decisions till you
played a while.
You played a little bit and then you make decisions. And I don't think what you said is intrinsic to this game. I think I felt that playing all the MMOs that I played. So I wish that.
You know what games
even
try
in
to do
WoW,
that?
I was like, oh well, you should play. And I always say, oh, if you play this character, and it's like
that
I don't
Richard
have to go back.
Garriott MMO, Tabula Rasa, did
Yeah.
that where like at each branching point, it saved
That's
a copy to
right.
go back and.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
because I agree with that the frustration. I wish that I would know more before I had to make these decisions. I want to mention too that having seen all the travel powers, ice, fire, jet boots, they're all the same,
Yeah.
except for there's only a few that are
teleportation. That's
Now,
what
I'll tell you,
had.
teleportation.
That's what I had.
That's what you
I
had?
switched to teleportation.
Which probably is cool for you, but even cooler when you're in a group. This is what's potentially great about this game. If you're in a group of people and you've got teleport, what I'm seeing on my screen, I'm swinging, which is badass, and
Yeah.
you're firefighting, you know, and then you disappear and then appear somewhere else, and you're kicking the back.
Yeah.
You're like, hey, how do we get this? Oh, you're like, here, let me just go through the wall real quick. And you on your screen can see everything.
Like
and you're
real superheroes.
That we really are having to use
Yeah.
our each individual talents, which is what other MMOs try and do, and this really kind of hones in on
That's badass.
the experience.
That
Is
could be
pretty
really
rad.
badass.
Now, we didn't have that
We
experience.
didn't have that experience,
but
but-
the potential is there.
Yeah.
Well, maybe like next Wednesday when the beta's back up,
Yeah.
we could
Yeah,
all try
well,
grouping
yeah.
and play.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I'll have to start a new character though.
The second game I wanted to talk about briefly is a game I know it's been out for a little while. It's part of Xbox Live Arcade's Summer of Arcade, and where they kind of grouped some big releases together. And we talked about a little bit about Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and the new Turtles in Time game was one of those. Another one is called Splosion Man. It's been out a few weeks, but I know Dan was really all excited about it. I think it's clear why. It's very Dan type of a game.
Yeah.
And basically,
It's N+ with explosions.
it really is, and it's a very old school type of game. It feels a lot like something you would have played on the SNES or Genesis days, complete with boss battles, and I mean it's a 2D platformer, tried and true 2D platformer. The really inventive part comes from the character's style, which is he's a man who was created in a lab and basically just explodes, and anytime you push a button. That's the only button in the entire game, is just explode, which propels you forward. But the game keeps mixing things up. You're trying to escape this lab and destroy the scientists who created you. And so you can explode and kill things, but you can also explode and make yourself jump or be propelled or hit another explosive barrel in the universe, which will make you go even farther. So there's a lot of that old school platforming, get to this
It's
place.
a lot like Sonic.
I think it's a mix between like Bubsy and Sonic. It's got that
I
Sonic.
loved Bubsy back in the day.
Yeah.
Terrible game, but I loved it.
It's got that Sonic kind of wild.
Stuff happens and you're like, you hit the thing and then you hit
just
like
gotta
6
keep
chains.
going
Yeah,
with it. Yeah. It's out of control. So Alex, did you dig Splosion Man?
I thought it was great. I mean, it is that old school 2D crazy game. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's one of those fun things. Plus, the difficulty level was high enough that it was enjoyable, but it wasn't frustrating. Like a lot of those old school 2D games where they beat you down into submission kind of games.
This game gets pretty brutal.
It does, but it's like the respawns are pretty quick, and there's
Definitely.
a lot of like checkpoints and stuff.
Yep.
So it mitigates that stuff.
It also has a really interesting feature, which is if you die enough times, the game recognizes that and goes, hey, do you want to take the coward's way out? Which is just skip to the next level.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting thing. I never used it, but just having it there kind of eased my mind
you're like,
a little
oh,
bit.
it's not that bad.
I don't have to do this,
Right, yeah,
which is
yeah,
an
yeah.
interesting way to approach it. Dan, of course you love
Anyway,
this.
so why did I love it?
Why did you?
I'll answer that.
Yes. What? That'd be great. No,
Because it mixes the thinking it through.
That's right.
The precision of actually doing it.
That's right.
And a third thing. What's the third thing?
Well, the really
Sex.
cool thing is you think that we've had so
Sexist.
many 2D games. You guys mentioned Sonic and Mario and platformers, right? And how we spend all this time now making these new 3D games and changing it up with now first-person shooters and all that stuff, and it's like, but you can still put that creativity into 2D games and come up with something that's exciting and new. And just the mechanic of it, you get 3 explosions. Explode once, explode twice, 3 times, and then you have to reset. So it's using that, so it's not just like Sonic, because it really is like a new way of trying to figure out how to skill through this game.
It's basically triple jump.
Yeah, but sort
with
of. It's a little
explosion.
different. That little tiny thing that it does.
Yeah.
Well, I've never played a game which usually it's double jump.
That's what I
right?
mean.
Yeah.
So triple jump
having
is-
3, but having it reset after, like,
And
it
that it
does,
actually interacts with the environment
right.
as well. So it's
I
like
would have
your
been
attack and
fine
jump.
with just the way you play this game in level 1, whereas the triple jumps and trying to find out where to go, that would have been fine. But in addition to that, all of the flourishes in style, in terms of, like, you know, when you pick up this fat guy to block missiles and this song
Everybody
comes on.
loves donuts.
Yeah, it's this bizarre song and it's brilliant.
very
The
trippy.
boss battles are intense and awesome. And then I remember every level I was like, oh my god, now they're changing up on me again, where now I don't get to do this certain thing that I've gotten used to doing, and now I have to try and do it. And then there's a level where you're just falling the whole time.
Yeah.
And you have to explode it comes to the very end, you know, and you have to explode to keep yourself from going into this electricity. Like, it keeps on changing up so that my mind continues to be exploded over and over and over again.
it.
And it's huge and massive, and how can this just
Tons
be,
of-
how much was this game? I don't even know.
$10, I think.
I mean, that, dude, this is worth way more than
Well,
that.
it's like that the id one that they're doing, Synergy or.
You mean Epic? The
Epic,
Future,
yeah.
some Future Sync or something?
No, it's
Future War?
you guys are messing me up.
Yeah.
It's Shadow Complex.
Shadow Complex is good. Another one of those side scrollers with
Which
a
is
lot
coming
of
soon,
effort.
very
into
soon.
it,
Yeah. I also really, really dug this game. I liked it more than M+. It didn't have that frustration level for me that this. But you know what? Having said that, I clicked into why I often disagree with you on these type of games is. I realize the fun for me doesn't come from precision in games, it comes from exploration and choices. And these type of games don't give you choices. They give you, there's one way to do them, and that's the correct way. And there's a fun in figuring that way out and executing it. But what I like most about video games is when I have a choice and I get to be creative.
That's why you like those big open world RPGs.
That's why I would much rather be playing Sacred 2,
Right. No, yeah. Interesting.
for example.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we're gonna try something new this week, new segment.
New segment.
We're gonna call it Experiment Man.
Oh, experimental.
I'm a huge fan of Cracked.com's lists.
Not really top 10 lists.
They're
'cause they
different
range.
numbers, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And they are hilarious. I wish this segment could be just me reading to you guys the list.
Well, that's why there's an internet, so people can go read for themselves.
Exactly. So please
Actually,
go
the
do
coolest thing on their list is that whatever list you're reading on the right has other lists, and so I kind of find myself falling into that internet hole of
Yeah, yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Totally.
List of
A
lists of
gaping
lists.
hole. The list.
gaping
Speaking
hole.
of gaping holes, the list we're doing is 8 classic movies that got away with gaping plot holes. I
Gaping.
thought you were gonna cough a joke.
I didn't need to.
Okay, so starting us off is number 8, Back to the Future.
And this is a plot hole that I myself have actually been like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. So basically, they call to our attention that in Back to the Future, Marty goes back in time, meets his parents, invents rock and roll.
At an age where they would have memories.
Right. Exactly. And later on in life, no one feels like, hey, isn't it weird that your son turned out to look exactly like that dude that used to be into in high
Came
school?
back in.
I don't know.
And also Calvin
think it's
Klein,
plausible.
where they were like,
How is it
that's so
plausible?
funny, you have the name
Okay,
of...
think of the do you remember all the people that you had a crush on in high school? I bet you do.
Yeah, okay, but then you have a kid who starts
Yeah.
out as a baby,
Right.
who doesn't look like that guy.
Right.
So in 20 years later, you go, man, that is so weird how he grew up to look like my memory.
Exactly like the
Like my
dude.
memory. You don't. They don't have pictures
Okay,
of
but
him.
what about this?
Pre-Facebook
What
might
if-
be plausible.
What if
Just saying.
you met some weird foreign guy and his name was Calvin Klein? And then Calvin Klein got popular. I guess you wouldn't be
That's
like,
not right.
That's not
You
the guy.
wouldn't. You
Yeah, I'd
wouldn't-
just be like, oh, that's funny. I know.
There's two Calvin Kleins.
I think it's fair.
I think it's excusable.
But
Move on.
then they were
Move
saying
on.
also about the Chuck
MoveOn.org.
Berry song.
Right.
Where
I
all of a sudden
might
rock and roll
forget the
started.
song. See, I might be with Jeff on that song. But
I'm
was
not
working on the
against
other
Jeff.
thing.
Move on.
Okay. Number 7, Minority Report, where the precogs can see into the future.
However, they're always wrong. That's the way that they said it.
Yeah.
Again, I think science fiction-y kind of stuff like this, there's a teeny bit of wiggle room because it's like, well, how that should work.
Well,
but
this
it's
is
like,
how they got away with it, because you have, otherwise there'd be no fun movies ever.
Right.
We could not experience any sort of joy in movies. Okay, but The Sixth Sense is number 6, The Sixth Sense. And this is something that I've always thought about. I think there's a reason for it.
I think-
basically what happens is, spoiler for The Sixth
for
Sense.
the Sixth Sense.
Is Bruce Willis is dead, and the little boy sees Bruce Willis, but we don't know this the whole movie. He's the psychiatrist helping this boy solve all these like ghostly encounters of these ghosts that are just wandering around aimlessly and have no idea what they're doing.
You don't need to summarize.
Yet Bruce Willis's character is completely coherent, knows who he is.
He's going back and forth to his house and work.
Yeah,
and
following around his wife. And the article points out that, so every time he goes out to eat, is he really upset that the waiters are being rude and not speaking to him?
The issue is that it's not a big deal that the audience didn't know he was dead the whole time. It's that he didn't know he was dead the whole time. How is it possible? Like, yes, we could cut into that scene at a point where we didn't need to figure out how he got here,
Exactly.
but he did.
And not only that, but how did he get
maybe he
hired to do the job? He had a file on the kid.
I know he could do the job, but can he get the job?
Maybe he had a file on the kid from before he was
2
dead.
years ago? He was dead
Maybe.
for 2 years or a year or something.
I
Maybe
think
it's a
this
ghost
is
file. What are we
I
talking
think this
about?
is suspension of disbelief
Yeah.
time. Because
Well, then, and the
everything
next
here is
one,
suspension of disbelief.
No,
We have
but
to
the
say
next
that.
one,
So you
the
can't
next
really
one,
keep saying it.
but
the next one kills all
Well-
time travel movies dead, and it.
Which is next one?
Which is the Harry Potter is number 5.
Now,
Harry
this is
Potter
an
and the
issue-
Prisoner of Azkaban.
Where
This
they
isn't-
use the time travel device.
Right. It's not a device, it's a spell.
Well, it's a device.
Well,
that
it's all
weird.
magic.
I know.
Yeah,
but
yeah. But yeah,
a charmed object.
Nerds.
It's a charmed object.
Nerds.
Spock. I actually had a huge problem with this when I read it as a book before
I
it
had a
was
problem
even
with it
a film.
when I saw the movie. let me just
Huge
say.
problem, and I think it's, to be quite mean, a very inexperienced writer. Because she introduces, she did this several times in the early book. She introduces concepts that are really cool, but if you follow them to their logical conclusion, would completely invalidate other things. Here it's time travel, and they pointed out well in this Cracked article,
What did they
which
point
is
out?
which
Yeah.
is that once you introduce time travel into the Harry Potter series, and the fact that they can use it, and there's really no rules associated with it, it's just the magicians tend not to use it.
But
then you have these horrible things happening where you have this big evil Voldemort killing people, and nobody bothers to go back in time and stop him.
But even forgoing that, even if you forgive it of that and just look at it for just even that moment, they go back in time and they have to rush to get something done.
Well, that's what you're
Why
saying.
couldn't they have just
You
gone
have a
back
time
a few
travel
minutes
device.
earlier?
They use time travel. What happens in the book is they use time travel to allow Hermione to go to 2 classes at the same time.
Which is the worst reason to use
so
time travel.
frivolous.
It's like, we can't save people from dying,
Right.
but you can do 2 classes at once.
Yeah.
Because we have that power.
Terrible.
Number 4 on the list, the greatest, often mentioned, the greatest movie of all time. If there was ever one movie that you could say the greatest film of all time, it is Citizen Kane.
To
and
a
it
lot
is
of people.
Gaping plot hole. So the
also
movie
requires a huge spoiler for us to tell you about.
No,
it.
no,
No,
it
you don't have to
doesn't.
say
It
what
doesn't.
the answer is.
Yeah.
You're like,
So-
I just did with my brain.
No. So the premise of the movie is Charles Foster Kane dies in the opening moment of the film and utters the word rosebud. And then reporters are talking about the death of this huge guy. He's basically, what was he?
He's like a mogul. Hearst.
Hearst, yeah. So, and they're all want to find out why was that his last word. And the movie explores the man's life. It's a biography, rise and fall. But who the hell was there to hear the There's a woman at the doorway as the ball falls,
he whispers it.
He whispers it.
Really
There's no
close
way
to-
she heard.
Whoever was holding the camera heard it. Is what it is.
Exactly.
And he's like, did he just say rosebud?
This was the first item on this list that I went, yes, that's true. I never thought of that.
What, Citizen Kane?
Yeah, where he goes, rosebud.
Yeah.
What about
And then-
Fantastic Voyage, which is number 3?
Yeah, I've never seen this movie. Have you guys?
I've never seen this movie either,
funny.
but
Okay, see, it's hilarious.
what it says
I know.
is the most
So-
hysterical thing because I want to make the movie where that actually happened.
Fantastic-
People are shrunk down.
It's like inner space, but maybe
Yeah.
back in the day,
inside your veins.
they're swimming around trying to fix a.
They're in a
gate.
ship.
They're in a ship.
And they're
Brain aneurysm.
and bad things happen, and so they
Brain
need to
clot.
escape the ship and get out of the body
Because
before
they have 12 hours before they enlarge.
1 hour.
Or 1 hour or something.
Well, 12 hours is a pretty
Before
good time. They
the-
can have
the-
sandwiches and
yeah.
the
chillax.
technology that shrunk them down wears off, and they'll grow back.
So they get a catastrophe happens. The ship explodes, but they make
No,
it
they don't-
out.
It doesn't explode. It
No, it
just
crashes.
is disabled.
No, it
there's
crashes.
Oh, yeah.
And they make it out. Thank God. And they grow as they get out.
As soon as they come out, they grow.
But we forgot about the wreckage of the ship still inside the person.
Which would be awesome to show that moment of like, oh man, I'm so glad you guys got out of me and totally fixed my brain aneurysm, and you guys are all big, and then what the twang?
Oh, there's where we park.
That
Oh.
would be a great short film.
Tweet tweet.
Well, which is
And
really
so-
cool. What they said was that
Yeah.
Isaac Asimov, one of my favorite authors of all time,
Wrote the novelization for the movie.
and like wrote around that problem and explained it away. I mean, they didn't say how he explained it away,
Right.
but
You
It
can go
got
read the book.
disintegrated. Oh, I think it
cool.
got like
Yeah.
disintegrated with stomach acid.
Number 2 on the list.
I made that up.
Lion King. It basically speaks about what's the bad?
Scar.
Scar overthrows, kills Mufasa. Or
What? Who did that?
if it's
Mine
for me,
was
I'm
off.
in the shower.
It was off. I was on
Terrible.
airplane mode.
Clearly
This
not
guy.
off.
I was on
Clearly
airplane
not
mode.
off.
So Mufasa.
It is off.
Basically, like his way of winning in this movie is by devouring, like making sure everyone devours the land.
No,
that's not
Scar.
the issue.
The issue of Scar is that he rises to power and then there's a drought.
Right.
And
Right.
everybody associates Scar, that it was Scar that brought the
Right.
drought. And then when, not Mufasa, but the actual Simba rises to power again, somehow Simba's
Yeah.
magic makes this drought
it's that
go
he's
away.
so evil that the
it blighted,
weather.
it blighted the land.
Yeah, which
I,
is clear.
I thought it was that he sort of pillaged the land of all its
No.
fruitfulness.
Well, I mean, that's clear what we're supposed to
Right.
be implied.
It's
also, they're
very
talking
animation-y,
lions.
right?
Yeah.
Which the list points out.
Yeah.
So number 1 on the list. This is a big thing, I think.
I don't.
Star Wars: The Empire.
As soon
Okay,
as I
you're not
read it-
allowed to use your suspended disbelief on this one, okay?
Why not?
Because that's all. I mean, that's not. That, we just, let's
Plot
take
holes.
that
I
into
figured it
consideration.
out. I figured it out.
Right.
The answer to this one.
Okay, so hold on.
different engines.
Hold on, wait. Okay, so Star Wars: Empire Strikes Back. There's this sequence in the middle of the film where there's a sequence in the middle of the film where. Can you explain the sequence?
Yeah,
better
so
than
the
me?
sequence
Okay.
in the film is Han Solo and Luke Skywalker part ways after the Battle of Hoth.
Right.
And the reason why is because he was like, hey bro, sorry, I'm gonna become a Jedi. I gotta go meet this weird troll guy on a
He
planet.
doesn't know he's a troll.
I gotta meet this guy. His
The
name's
most powerful Jedi who ever lived.
who the only guy left actually.
He's eating
on this
some sort of
planet. I gotta
biscuit
go.
or biscotti.
Spoiler,
gotta go
spoiler for
Tatooine.
Empire Strikes Back. He's a
You don't
tiny
see
little
him.
troll.
Tiny troll. His name is Yoda. And then the Millennium Falcon's like, great, well we're gonna go do other things.
Fly through an asteroid.
So
field or something.
they part ways. Luke lands and begins training for his Jedi training. At the same time, the Millennium Falcon lands at the Cloud City and then gets captured by Darth Vader. And then as soon as that happens, we flash back to the Yoda training, and he's like, oh crap, my friends are in trouble, I gotta go. Well, the whole plot hole is, bro, you've been training for like 8 hours. Or
Right.
maybe a week.
Right, it's-
And now you're gonna leave and
Well,
become
it's
like Uber Jedi?
Either it took him 6 hours to train, or the training sequence was very long, and it took the Millennium Falcon, like they were on a journey
is why I
that was
said
months long.
Different engines. The Millennium Falcon is a little bit slower in it'll jump to light speed. They just took their
used
time
the-
getting to Cloud City.
They use the infinite improbability drive.
and the X-Wing jumped to light speed to make it to Cloud City in like. So it's all happened in about 6 months.
I don't think so.
Hey,
And with that, so
this
do you
does
have
not
any-
bother me.
It's not about bothering you. We're just discussing.
Well, that's what
them.
plot holes are supposed to do. They're
No,
supposed to
we're just
bother
talking
you.
about how well that is
No.
a gap in logic. It's a gaping hole in logic.
it's a hole
Listen.
you could fly the Millennium Falcon through. All right, before we get to our email, we do want to thank our sponsors.
Such lovely sponsors
Good worship
as Squarespace. You've probably heard us talk about Squarespace before, and that's because we love Squarespace. It is the best WYSIWYG editor, which is what you see is what you get, meaning you can edit on the fly from any computer. You go to your website that you have through Squarespace, you hit the escape key, you type in your password, and then all of a sudden you are editing live What you see is what you get. You can move stuff around. It is so slick and easy. I love it. We've all done our websites on it. My website, jeffcanada.com, is done on Squarespace.
That's right.
And I don't know if you guys have heard. I think Dan's probably heard. But there's a new magazine.
what?
There's this new magazine.
Oh, I've heard.
Yes. It's actually the magazine is called Stuff Dan Has Already Heard About. Magazine.
Oh, I didn't hear about that.
You haven't heard about
Oh
that?
yeah, Dan Cortez from MTV Sports.
No. Yes. There's an article in Dan's magazine. You just like screwing me up.
Oh.
Anyway, that
What about
magazine, highly rated my wife. Dan.
I love it.
Check out Squarespace.
Because they're awesome.
Running. Seriously, check out Squarespace. It is awesome. And if you use our promo code,
TRS.
Yeah, TRS, then you get 10% off the lifetime of your order.
Amazing.
It's awesome.
Amazing. Also, new sponsor, 2 months, 2 million, is a new reality show on G4 starting Sunday, August 16th, 9 p.m. Group of 4 guys, high school math whizzes, all moved into a mansion in Las Vegas with a concept of winning $2 million in 2 months playing online poker.
Wow.
It's like
These guys are
bringing
the
down
top,
the house.
These guys are the top online poker players, all high school friends,
So it's-
math whizzes. They've built this whole
Latifah
house.
was there?
And were you there?
Wrong movie.
Yeah.
The book, not the movie.
Yeah. It's gonna be epic. Can they do it? I'm not sure if they're gonna be able to. $2 million in 2 months is a lot of money to win. And they got this whole section of their house called the tilt room, which they just have they just have vegetables and a baseball bat. And so whenever they're like down a lot of money, they just go into this room and destroy vegetables in this room of this mansion. Crazy times. Sunday, August 16th, 9 p.m. on G4.
I saw the promos for it. I was like, oh yeah.
That's pretty cool. You can check out more at 2m2mm.com.
Also sponsoring the show is GoDaddy, where you can buy domains as low as $1.99. I believe even the website stuff Dan didn't come up with or knows about
Don't
already.
worry about it.
That was purchased with, I don't know if it was purchased with GoDaddy, but if they did, it would have been like $1.99 or something. So head over to GoDaddy.com, get your piece of the internet. They have very easy to use startup software. And revision3.com/GoDaddy has tons of promo codes to get lots of different kinds of discounts.
Yeah, so check 'em out.
So check them out.
Love it. Also check out App Judgment.
Right, yeah, App Judgment.
Yeah, new Revision 3 show.
I think that one of the most difficult things for everybody that has smartphones is the numerous apps on. I know we all have iPhones, but this show is actually going to cover iPhone and Palm Pre and Android phones, and it's kind of hard to sift through the numerous apps all the time to find the best stuff.
I think there are up to 70,000 apps available
a lot of
on the
apps,
iPhone.
And so this new show on Revision 3, Patrick Norton, David Prager.
Yep.
And they're going to come out 3 times a week. So and
Yeah,
it's
and I
really
think
short,
they're
bite-sized
they're
stuff.
rotating hosts.
I've
too.
also always had
Yeah.
a problem whenever I go to TGI Fridays. I'm like, do I want mozzarella sticks? Do I want the buffalo wings?
Yep.
You know, if you read that magazine I was talking about, Dan Cortez has great recommendations.
Well, I figured, App Judgment may help me decide on what app I would want.
Love it. So,
A
interesting
Tizer?
thing
I
to
got it.
know about our show is that we have a computer for reading emails from, as well as other things, and that computer is Mike's computer, which went belly up. So, this email is brought to you by iPhone. I don't know why. All right, so our email today, hey guys, this winter I bought a motorcycle, and on June 25th, I left my hometown in Northern Ontario and headed out east to Newfoundland. Over a 16-day period, I rode 4,492 miles. It's a lot.
of riding.
Crossing through Quebec, New Brunswick, Prince Edward Island, Nova Scotia, and Newfoundland. It rained a lot, and I don't have a windshield. Horrible.
Wow.
But luckily, my TRS hoodie kept me warm underneath my riding
Awesome.
jacket. Epic. So what's the most memorable road trip you've ever gone on? Keep up the good work. Is that Drake?
Derek?
Derek?
I think it's Derek, yeah.
Derek? Drake is way cooler. Or it's actually,
Derek's cool.
it was Derek
If that
on
was
a
his
Drake.
if it was
Drake
Wow-
is a type of motorcycle in Canada.
If it was his WoW character, his name would be Drake.
His name will be Drake. From up north, thank you, Derek. Best road trip experience.
First
Jeff
of
Canada.
all, awesome.
Epic.
And I want to give a shout out because this reminded me. I recently watched Long Way Around, which is an awesome documentary series that Ewan McGregor did about doing a very similar thing. We're getting on a bike and for charity. It's really, really entertaining and interesting and inspiring. And I really want to go to. We should go to Canada, guys. Seriously.
I've been to Canada. It's cool.
Yeah.
I know we should all. I mean,
It's
I've
all
been
like
too,
the
but
US,
it's
but
it'd be fun.
north.
Anyway,
Been there too, but
there is one major road trip that I took a bunch of friends. You guys know Jerry.
Oh, yeah.
We drove LA to. We went to Mardi Gras in New Orleans. This is pre-Katrina, we decided went in 2 cars. We decided we were just gonna go. We left at 10 o'clock at night, and we were just gonna go and not sleep and just change drivers. It was a huge group of people.
Disaster?
I think there was huge disaster. Oh yeah, it ended some friendships. I mean, it was crazy. And we went on basically on Highway 10 all the way to New Orleans, and then went back and went through Vegas on the way back. Insane. We arrived in the middle of Mardi Gras. We had a hotel reservation. We get there and they're like, "Sorry, there's no rooms here." We're like, "We have a reservation." Like, "Yeah, well."
There's no rooms.
We don't care. We have
Mardi
all the
Gras!
money. Yeah, Mardi Gras. It was chaos. I mean, nobody slept. Everybody was mad at each other. We all ended up getting our hotel gave us a 1-bedroom or a 1 person singular occupancy room, and all 8 of us just slept on the floor, and it was crazy.
Sounds like a bad episode of Amazing Race, doesn't it?
Yeah. It was the amazing. We survived this race.
Epic. Danzig?
The best time of my life thus far has been my road trip out with my best friend Amy, driving out here close to 5 years ago, 6 years ago or something.
Yeah.
Moving out here from Philly to
LA.
LA.
La Land.
We did one day, a 13-hour drive to Chicago, and then Mall of America.
Yep.
And did frickin' saw there's a amusement park inside that mall.
Yeah.
Minneapolis, Colorado Springs. Many heated debates and arguments
about whether springs were made in Colorado Springs.
And then
Is
Santa.
this the same time that you peeing on the side of the road almost died?
Yes. She was peeing on the side. I told the story in an
On the
earlier
show,
episode,
yeah.
I guess.
Go back and you don't have to retell it.
Yeah, no, I
Tease it,
won't.
tease it.
I almost died twice. Once was her peeing on the side of the road, me in a car, and someone was moving a house, and the house almost hit our car. Crazy. And the second time was went to Monument Valley, which I'd always wanted to go to. She was so over that, and I was like, this is where they shot The Search. This is every John Wayne Western, Monument Valley. And we rode horses in Monument Valley. Mine was called Trigger, and it frickin' bolted. There was no teaching how to ride the guy was not into that, of just do it.
Yeah.
And holy crap.
So he was a Nike.
And then, and then Vegas, and then LA, and it was absolutely spectacular. So.
Epic. Well, I've done a lot of road tripping family style, as a kid, but this story, Derek's story, kind of reminded me. A buddy of mine was an Army Ranger, and we grew up, went to high school together, and hung out a bunch in high school. And I kind of, went the way of I actually met him in the theater program. I went the way of the sort of performance side, and he went the way of I'm now an Army Ranger. Went to Afghanistan, 2 tours in Iraq, whole 9 yards. Well, he comes back from Iraq and was like, I want to do some crazy stuff. Literally picked up the phone. We grew up in Virginia, and he said, bro, I'm flying out to LA. I'm gonna buy a motorcycle. I want you to teach me how to ride a motorcycle, and then I'm gonna ride my motorcycle from LA back to Virginia.
That's awesome.
And I was like, dude, epic, let's do it. So I bought a motorcycle, he bought a motorcycle. I mean, we bought really bad motorcycles. I mean, it was like $500 motorcycle and a $500 motorcycle. And we called his Rusty because it was covered in rust, and mine was Death Horse.
On my
was
car,
covered in death horses?
driving out west, my car covered with bugs.
Dude,
Disgusting.
bro.
Your body must have been covered
So
with bugs.
my amazing road trip experience was teaching my buddy how to ride, and then we were like, let's go down to San Diego. So he and I rode motorcycles easy rider style. Me on my bike, him on his little Rusty bike. Rode all the way down.
It's better than Dumb and Dumber style.
Yeah, way better than Dumb and Dumber style. Stayed down in La Jolla, had some cool times there, a couple days, and then drove all the way back up here to get him prepared. Then he went on, which if he ever comes on the show and gets to retell the story, you guys will die, because it was like the epic journey of epicness, and was through blizzards and literally would park his bike and then just walk into the desert and camp because he's an Army Ranger. He's like, what do I need to stay at a hotel?
And killed several people.
And dude, and like would kill like animals
Amazing.
and like make soup. I mean, it was like
Soup?
Soup is
In front of
army
people's
soup.
houses?
It's army soup. Anyway,
You guys
so
would sit on
I
that
had,
stoop?
I had this sort of like the like ritzy Easy Rider time when we like drove down to like my parents' house in La Jolla and like just slept in a bed and then I drove back and he did the like F you, I'm going through the mountains on a bike
Crazy.
that shouldn't work. So anyway, if you would like to have your email read on the show, just like Derek, send it to fans@totallyradshow.com.
That's also you would send us a background, like
Correct.
like Paul did. This is something we love to see, and you can download this exact background at our website, totallyradshow.com, and you can also get a logo if you want to make your own. Also, check out our forums, and that's all I need to say about that.
Nice.
Next week on the show, we're talking about District 9. So there's that.
And
but
are we also talking about?
No, maybe not. I don't know. Not decided.
We're
Undecided.
not talking about video games. We're talking about movies.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Doesn't time travel?
Oh, time travel is
comes out
Wi-Fi.
on
Oh
Friday?
yeah!
I was like,
Very
what?
excited.
I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not
I didn't
thinking
want you
the
to
thing
say
you're
something
saying.
and then it not be true.
Yeah.
So also though, now that Comic-Con is officially over, next up PAX. Next
Yeah,
up
we're going to
Seattle.
PAX.
You sound like
So,
we haven't been talking about
get
it.
I know,
your
on
tickets.
every episode since.
No, but get your tickets, get your plane
Saturday
tickets.
at noon
Yeah, we
is
need
when
to
we're
get
doing
our
our
plane
panel.
tickets,
Yeah.
y'all.
I know, yeah. Anyway, also, get your shirt because these bad boys are going like hotcakes. Also, we have new stickers out. Some, yeah, Fight the Power stickers for TRS. So
A
head
lot
over
of
to
requests for that.
jinx.com/TRS and you can get
I
all
can
of your.
put some stickers on your Trapper Keeper and locker. And
Yeah, dude, epic. All right, well, that is it for this week's edition of the Totally Rad Show. I'm Alex Albrecht.
I'm Jeff Canada.
I'm Dan Trachtenberg.
Until next time, enjoy G.I. Joe. What?
Or not.
All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay.
Are you guys ready is the question. Okay, you ready? This week in movies, wait, hold on a second. I was
totally in it. I've forgotten what I want to say now. I had this great quip to start. All right, let's do this.
all right.
What's up?
What's up? It's Bruno.